when I saw Funny People for the first time, I said, who is this guy Judd Apatow? And I've always been fascinated with him because he truly is the king of dramedies. And with The King of Staten Island coming out this weekend, I thought it'd be fun to kind of dive in and rank all 6 of Judd Apatow's full feature live action films that aren't documentaries. I didn't really get into those, but I counted the ones that everyone else was ranking. I thought, hey, this is going to be a fun ranking list. So make sure, guys, to comment down below. Let me know your guys' thoughts. What is your ranking of all the Judd Apatow films? What were your guys' thoughts of King of Staten Island? I got a review up there in the card up above. Make sure to go click on that and let me know your guys' thoughts over there on that film. So without further ado, let's get started. Coming down at my number 6 is going to be This Is 40. I actually just watched this for the first time yesterday, and actually why I feel like this is actually his weakest script and his weakest directorial effort yet. In a weird sense, it's his most heartfelt, most sincere one as well. One that really feels the most passionate coming off the screen because it feels like this is something that he was going through with his actual wife, Leslie Mann. And in general, it's fun. There are definitely some comedic moments in here. I laughed a lot in here, but it is very long. And some of the sequences just feel stringed together. Some of the subplots in here go nowhere. And some of the characters just didn't feel like they were needed. I think this is a lot of relatability stuff in here because of people over in the ages 40. I'm not at 40 yet. Maybe when I get there, I'll appreciate this film just a little bit more, but it is still fun in its right. Paul Rudd is fantastic. Leslie Mann is truly the show-stopping star of this, though. I think she's actually the best part about this whole entire film, even though I love Paul Rudd. And some of the supporting cast is great. I mean, Albert Brooks in here is just phenomenal. I love seeing him come into these roles and really just play well. But am I the only one who just hears Marlon's voice now? Like, that's all I hear. I know he's known for so much more, but I just hear Marlon. It's kind of an issue, especially when he has all 3 of those kids in this film. Easily, this is my least favorite Judd Apatow film. It just feels, again, like a bunch of sequences stringed together really make me remember this movie in the end of the day. And coming up, my number 5, we already talked about the sort of sequel to this film, but that is Knocked Up. Knocked Up is an excellent movie. This is one that anything above this I actually really like from Judd Apatow. I think Knocked Up, again, the really big con to this is the last third act gets a little bit too overly long. And personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Katherine Heigl. I just don't know what it is about her. I think she's a good actress, but something about her in particular just never jives with me right when watching a movie. And I think Knocked Up is easily one of her better performances. But for me, I think there is a lot of nice nuances in here. And growing up kind of right now, I don't have kids yet. I don't plan on having kids for a little bit now. But Knocked Up kind of opens that door for 2 people who were not ready for this and kind of have different paths in their career that they're kind of going on. One's kind of a down on his luck stoner dude who's just trying to start a website with his friends that, yes, there's a lot of jokes behind that. But also Katherine Heigl, who's trying to get ahead in her business and her career as his news anchor. And there's, again, a lot of fun elements into Knocked Up. There's a lot of fun characters in here. All of Seth Rogen's friends in here are fantastic. And one of my favorite things is kind of diving back into these movies and seeing, like, people who are like, oh my God, this is, like, way before they got famous. And it's a lot of fun in that right. But Knocked Up has a lot of memorable moments, especially when it comes to Seth Rogen and the crew. And the relationship they build between Katherine Heigl and him actually works wonders. And I'm going to be honest, I actually wish they would have shown up in This Is 40. I think that could have added another type of element to it. And coming at my number 4 is a movie that I really did not expect to like when I first saw it, and that is Trainwreck. What a hilarious movie. Again, kind of teeter-totters just because it is a little bit too long. And again, this is a movie that I'm not the biggest fan of Amy Schumer at all. I've never been the biggest fan of her, but this movie made me respect and appreciate her just a bit more. I think the writing is actually very strong in here, but for me, the reason this is so high up on my list and actually not down is because of Bill Hader. I think this is actually Bill Hader, like, this is a fantastic performance by Bill Hader. I think he does such a wonderful job, and I think Trainwreck really dissects a relationship so well in this movie and actually really formulates it. You see the fights, you see everything in those natures, and something that I've really gone through is I'm Bill Hader. I love the quote that he says in here that he grew up on, which is pretty much saying, never go to bed angry. I fully believe in that, and I love the relationship, the fights that they kind of go through, and everything that kind of brings the relationship together, puts a big smile on my face while at the same time making me laugh, because Amy Schumer has some great things, and John Cena might just well as steal the show in this, because it's great. And coming up, my number 3 is going to be The 40-Year-Old Virgin. I love this movie. This is probably Judd Apatow's funniest movie yet, and when it comes to Steve Carell just becoming a giant star after this, you totally see why. The relationship between him and his relationship in here is actually really much great, but the thing that works so well in The 40-Year-Old Virgin isn't just Steve Carell, it's the supporting cast in here. Every single person gets their moment to shine, and everyone has such a big laugh out loud moment that just has you gut busting out loud. And this was almost going to be my favorite one, but really the other two above this kind of hit a different spot for me. And maybe in time those ones will move down a little bit. 40-Year-Old Virgin will go back up. But 40-Year-Old Virgin is definitely one of the funniest films I've ever seen. And it's up there for me as being Judd Apatow's greatest comedy yet. Really, in general, this isn't a dramedy yet. This is more of a straight up comedy. And it's just still so funny to join back into. Coming in at my number 2 is going to be The King of Staten Island, the brand new Judd Apatow film. And when I first saw this film, I definitely really liked it. And I still really like it. But the reason this one's actually in my second place for me is because I think this is Judd Apatow's most mature film yet. The way that it deals with this Arrested Development guy who's just trying to find his suit. How do you move past a great loss in your family? How do you get past that and move on to the next part of your life? How do you find that pursuit of happiness? That's what this film goes through. And I think this actually gained a lot more respect for me for Pete Davidson. And the more that I thought about this film, the more that I've really just started to like it and really come to love it in a lot of its natures. I still have issues when it comes down to the third act structure and how it's getting to that conclusion. I think there could have been a little bit better in writing department there. I still love the finale. I love how it gets there. And I think I could have even spent more time with this character. Again, it made me respect Pete Davidson just a bit more. And the phenomenal supporting cast in here could honestly be nominated for Oscars. I mean, Bill Burr is wonderful in here. Marissa Tomei, excellent. And there are still a lot of funny moments in here, but this is more feels like a drama and one that I actually think works in its whole entire right. And when it comes to being the king of dramedies, I think that is Judd Apatow's doing. My number 1, this is a film that apparently people do not like, which is just insane to me, but that is Funny People. I think Funny People is a near perfect film. Let's get the con out of the way. It's the third act with Leslie Mann and spending the time with her husband at that house. It took way too long. It felt very repetitive. Could have gotten past that just like that, and I really wish they would have, because this would have made this film perfect for me. I think that's literally the only issue with this movie when it comes down to it. This is the first Judd Apatow film I ever saw, and I remember seeing it with my dad not liking it, but for me, I just found it so fascinating because I expected a full-on Adam Sandler comedy with Seth Rogen, two of my favorite comedic actors working at the time, and it wasn't that at all. It was a more dramatic element, taken with some nice comedy elements, especially how it deals with stand-up comedy, which I'm so fascinated with stand-up comedy. I've always thought about, hey, maybe I could do that one day, but probably couldn't. But I'm always fascinated with stories telling that downright story, and I think Funny People telling the story of George Simmons, who is played by Adam Sandler, who does such a fantastic job in this, taking on this young protege after he finds out that he is dying of cancer, is just a wonderful concept, and bringing it into light and seeing this unlikely friendship really come together has one of my favorite endings in any Judd Apatow film, probably one of my favorite endings in any dramedy or comedy type sorts of film. The stand-up is great. There's a lot of funny, hilarious moments in there that really work wonders, but it's the drama element of these two friendships, this unlikely friendship coming together, and just seeing the two different things. I've seen a lot of things. David Ehrlich does a great review on this and how saying this is the Great Gatsby for this decade, and I cannot agree more, because I think it really falters its when you look at all the character developments. I cannot go look up that article, because it's wonderful how the way that he's able to compare everything, and you can really see it in wonders. That Adam Sandler character is pretty much the Great Gatsby for this, and Seth Rogen's character is pretty much the Nick of this story, and it's honestly phenomenal the way that he was able to really put that in perspective, and it makes me even love this movie even more. That's my ranking for all Judd Apatow's 6 directed live action films. Again, I know he's directed some documentaries here and there, but I didn't decide to add those in there. I really wanted to focus on these 6 films in particular, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below as well. So make sure to comment down below. Let me know what your Judd Apatow ranking is. I'm so curious to hear your guys' thoughts down below. This was a wonderful thing, and Judd Apatow is a very diverse filmmaker. Some people really love his stuff, some people don't. They jive for me. So let's all be respectful down below in the comment section. Again, thank you guys again so much for watching this, and of course, until next time, stay classy.